Bollocks. I've made errors in the count before, but never had this many men missing. No other explanation. They've scarpered. Your Majesty, I'm sorry to inform you that a number of prisoners are, unaccounted for. And these aren't blokes your brother locked up for waving signs at a protest. They're real criminals, killers, and clever. Working out a way off this island as we speak, you can be sure. Me and my guards have enough on our hands keeping this place together. No way I can send men off to comb the island for these escapees. I could use another hand to round them up. And if that hand happens to wield magical weapons and shoot fire and lightning, well, so much the better. Wish I could tell you more, but the only thing we know for certain is they haven't left the island. And we don't even know that for certain. Yeah, anyway. Point is, if you could round them up, that'd be really fantastic. Brilliant. Knowing you're on the job, I'll be much more focused on the task at hand, making sure this place stays locked up tight. I'll just say, be on your guard. One of these brutes once beat a man to death with a sock. It was, not quick.
What are you boys gonna do first when we get home?
Reckon I'll visit me mum.
I meant in terms of crime. Although family is important.
Watch out, boys! She's got a gun, and she knows how to use it. Damn.
Maybe we should just hole up here.
Are you daft? They'd find us in no time.
We could put out the fire and stay very still.
Watch out! The bugger's got a gun! How come you get to be captain?
Never killed the queen before.
You know anything about sailing or routine?
Kill the witch!
Oh, is that what a captain does?
That dog's dangerous! Should be put down on health and safety grounds.
I was hoping I'd get to slit one more throat before we left the island. Incoming!
The revolution will happen swiftly. Those who join the rebel army will band together and attack at once. Those still loyal to the crown will be sacrificed to the cause. The king will be executed following a short court-martial, and the castle shall be burned to the ground, its ashes a memorial of our triumph. From those ashes will grow a new government, one led by the people and for the people, supervised by the military. I have no wish to rule, only to serve the land.
What do you reckon is out there past the horizon?
Well, I saw an old map one time. It said, "Here be dragon."
Sure it was Dragon's Claw.
I don't like the look of it.
You can handle
It looks
just
like one of those magic types.
That's it then. You've done us all a great service, Your Majesty. Shame none of them survived. Not because I'll miss them, because you gave them better than they deserved. Still, it's on their heads. They made their choice.
Would you like to go on a cruise?
The armory is at your disposal.
I've studied these kindred souls all my life, striven to understand their true nature, to capture their essence. The day is fast approaching when all that is human inside me will die, when I will finally be free and exist amongst the pure. There is no more misunderstood creature among the pure than that which others call hollow man. There is nothing hollow about them. They may, in fact, be the most complete being in existence. The one most in tune with the forces of nature. The flickering light that brings dead matter to life. I must harness it for the day of purification. It was not difficult to communicate with the pack of Balverines that roamed the estate freely. Their aggression, as with most of the pure, comes from a fundamental hatred of humanity. They saw in me the same hatred. Through some simple experiments, I was able to make Balverines and Hollowmen collaborate. They will need to come together for the great day.
The armory is at your disposal. And
a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
you've completed a suit. That's exciting. Fantastic choice of boots. Ah, very nice.
The work is complete at last. My day of purification has come.
Ah!
You know much about riots, Your Majesty? Lots of things can set them off, but one thing in particular is overcrowding. You stick too many bodies in a limited amount of space, they get angry and violent. Makes sense? And until recently I thought it was limited to prisons, but it turns out it applies to cemeteries as well. You see, quite a few inmates were killed when you retook the prison, so we set about digging graves for them. But there's a lot of dead in that cemetery already, and they didn't want new neighbours. So now, instead of putting bodies in graves, we've got them popping out. Just like with a riot, we tried to restore order. But I lost 2 men in the process. That's 2 more to bury, and I'll never make the numbers work at that rate. You think you could have a go? Thank you, Your Majesty. Well, that's just fantastic, Your Majesty. Now you've put down the rebellion, we can bury these bodies, and they will finally rest. If they know what's good for them.
I hate everything.
Your Majesty, let me give you a status update on the prison. We've accounted for all prisoners. All living inmates are secure, and final casualty tolls are being tabulated as we speak. The perimeter has been inspected, with security breaches identified and repaired. Patrols have returned to normal, with guard shifts rotating every 6 hours. We're all sleeping easier since you ran down those thugs, and the cemetery's quiet. And so now, I don't know. Your Majesty, I've performed all my duties. Now's the time when I'd normally await further orders, but I'm not likely to get any with Commander Milton no longer, in command. He had a set of books which covered different aspects of the penal system. They'd be awfully useful, but they disappeared during the riot. Think you could keep an eye out for them? Thank you, Your Majesty. I knew I could rely on you. This set of keys should give you access to all areas of the island. And my house. I'm gonna need those back, if it's all the same to you.
Chronologist's Handbook, Volume 1. Prison Security. Security is the primary responsibility of the commanding officer assigned to any correctional facility. It is of such paramount importance that it must supersede all other priorities. The only conceivable exception to this inviolable rule is in cases where a member of prison staff is in mortal peril. For example, if prisoners, in the course of an escape attempt, have taken a staff member hostage. In such a case, it is entirely permissible to temporarily reduce security, as in response to a hostage-taker's express demand, with full intention of restoring full security as soon as possible. Only once security is restored should the commanding officer attempt to neutralize or recapture the inmate or inmates responsible for the lapse. The only exception to this rule is again a case where a staff member's life is threatened. Basically, anytime they threaten a member of staff, give them what they want, and then try to fix things later as best you can.
You made a big mistake.
It's just one of those
For
days,
king and country.
you know, when you wished you'd never got up.
I don't want any trouble from you, and you don't want any from me. Let's just keep that in mind, all right?
It appears you've managed to create a complete suit. Nice to have things that match. Fine choice of shirt. Very good. I was going to recommend those trousers. That hat is an...
Oh, panic there for a second. Hello, sweetheart.
Think you can keep me down? Ha! You just wait. My journal. On this scrap of paper, I shall record my thoughts and feelings, so that they're preserved for posterity. Oh, how I hate this prison. Oh, it is so
Greetings, Your
awful.
Majesty.
My it is so very horrible, I can't stand it. I can't begin to imagine a worse place exists. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Lunch was decent today. The fish was cooked just right. Oh, how I wish I was not here in this dreadful place.
I hereby swear that should I ever manage to secure release from this accursed place, I will never again waste a single instant of my life. Never take a single moment for granted. If I should leave this place, I shall go directly home, kiss my wife and tell her I love her, and hold my children tightly. Then I will tend to the garden, help old Mrs. Purchase mend her tumble-down fence, and pick up rubbish around the neighborhood. I will learn a foreign language and take dance lessons. I will travel and have new experiences and learn. Then I will assassinate King Logan. Then I'm coming back here, massacring every guard I find and burning this place to the ground. Never a wasted moment.
If anyone should find this, know that escape is possible. We've made it this far, and so could you. Which I guess you would have if you're reading this. I will leave word further on in the hope it will help fellow escapees. We've made it into the boiler room and started in on the wall, working quietly. So far, Roger's plan has worked perfectly. Freedom is near at hand. Made it into the cave system. It's a testament to Roger's brilliance that he had the inspired idea for us to create wax heads, complete with hair stolen from the barber's shop to leave in our bunks to buy us time. It's too bad he's only just had the idea now, and didn't before we left. That must be the guards I hear coming. Ah!
Penologist's Handbook, Volume 2. Health and Hygiene. Anytime human beings live together en masse in cramped quarters, hygiene quickly becomes a pressing concern. The fact is that most prisons prioritize security and order over prisoner comfort, which is all well and good, but in the summer it can be quite intolerable depending on climate. Prisoners should be given the opportunity to bathe and launder their garments regularly. Anything under once every 3 months, and you are just asking for trouble.
Everything all right, my man?
Typical man. No.
You made a big mistake. You get no trouble from me. Very little, anyway.
Penologist's Handbook, Volume 3, Conjugal Visits. Contrary to popular opinion, a conjugal visit is not when a teacher visits the prison and teaches the inmates about verbs. Conjugal visits do not actually involve verbs at all. Well, they do. Actually, they can involve a surprising number, depending on the disposition, creativity, gender, and quantity of prisoners involved. But none bears repeating here. Just use your imagination. But not too often, as this can be harmful.
I have begun the process of revolution in the quietest way possible. Talking to those I trust most and gauging the mood of the troops. It is clear that when the time comes, many among our ranks will join me in an uprising. We have all seen the ever-deepening chasm in our society, and the way our people have been oppressed by the king. Even worse, we have all at one time or another been the instrument of that oppression. Change is coming to Albion. It is inevitable.
Ah, hello.
Your Majesty.
What the hell is that?
Penologist's Handbook, Volume 5, Prison Governance. In the event that a correctional facility's commanding officer is killed or incapacitated, authority for the facility should be transferred to the next highest ranking officer. For example, a captain, lieutenant or second lieutenant. In the absence of an available officer, authority then transfers to the highest ranked enlisted man, in descending order as follows: Staff Sergeant, Sergeant, Corporal, Lance Corporal, Private. Should there be no enlisted men able to fulfill the duties of command, authority hereafter transfers to prison staff, the composition of which may vary between institutions, as follows: surgeon, doctor, nurse, cook, janitor, groundskeeper. If none of these are available, the prisoner likely has larger problems than determining who is in command. Penologist's Handbook, Volume 4. Health and Safety Facilities. Every prison should have a sterile, well-stocked and fully staffed infirmary. If you do not have a clean and well-maintained infirmary, you could face drastic cuts in funding, or even a reprimand should you be visited by certain representatives of the Bureau of Prisons, who may or may not have particular political leanings or an axe to grind. Trust us on this. An ancillary benefit of having a functioning infirmary is that your prisoners will be healthier.
Psst! Over here! The time to break out is now! Everything is ready!
Your collection of suits has grown. That hat is an excellent selection.
Ah, you found the first book. I'm sure it will give me loads of ideas. Great, you found another book. Can't wait to read it. Another book, great stuff. I'll read this as soon as my shift's over. Fantastic, another book. I look forward to reading this one. Excellent, that's the last book. With all these at my fingertips, I'll have every answer at my fingertips. I suppose the only person I take orders from now is you, Your Majesty. So, what about it? What's your first order for me? Of course, the most pressing issue is deciding how this facility should be run from now on. You could release all the political prisoners. That's sure to endear you to the public. Or you could just leave things as they are. That's often the simplest choice, and the least paperwork. And of course, you could lock up more innocent people. No one would dare oppose you with the threat of ending up here. Yes, sir. I'll inform the men of your decision, Your Majesty.